Hello, welcome everyone. Hi, we're going to get started in just a minute. I want to give another minute or two for others to join us. Okay. I think we can go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for coming today and joining our webinar. I am Susie Wagner, the Outreach Administrator at the Division of Unclaimed Funds, and I want to introduce you to our presenters. Together, they have over 40 years of experience working for the state of Ohio, and they bring a wealth of knowledge on this topic. We have Amy Schellhammer, our finance manager at the Division of Unclaimed Funds. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Amy has experience auditing and managing financial accounts. And George Gladden. George is our compliance manager, and he brings over 19 years of experience auditing and working for the division. And then lastly, we have Kelli Lister, the legal counsel for the Division of Unclaimed Funds. Kelli has been with the state for over 9 years. So if we don't have the questions, something's wrong. I mean, the answers, my apologies, something's wrong. So we are here today to help answer your questions. With that, I'll pass it over to my team.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully we can get all of your questions answered. If not, we'll give you our contact information at the end, and so that if you have any questions down the road, we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. But as Susie said, my name is George Gladden, and I'm the compliance manager. And so I'll just go ahead and start off and talk a little bit about reporting. So all companies in Ohio doing business in Ohio are required to report annually to the Ohio Division of Unclaimed Funds, with the exception of 501c3 hospitals and public institutions, government agencies and whatnot. So even if you do not have any unclaimed funds, you are required to file what we call a negative or a none report, which you can do through the Ohio Business Gateway, and we'll give you links for that. You can also go to our website at unclaimedfunds.ohio.gov, where you can download any forms that you need, our reporting guide. You can also watch the webinar that we just put on September 1st, as well as some reporting videos. So reporting really is a three-step process, the first of which is to review your accounts for anything that might be dormant. And dormant means any period of time without any customer-initiated activity. Customer-initiated is key, that you're holding that particular item, and there are lots of different property types. And you can look in our reporting guide for those reporting types, and those property types, and those different dormancy periods. For example, a cashier's check has a 5-year dormancy period. That means they can go 5 years without being cashed before it becomes dormant and potentially reportable as an unclaimed fund. So that's the first step. So the second step is to go through, for anything $50 or more, you're required to do a due diligence mailing, where you send out notice of unclaimed funds. You can use our form OUF 8 or an equivalent letter to the last known address of the owner of the fund. You're required to send it with a self-addressed stamped envelope. Anything between $50 and up to $1,000, you can send those out first-class mail. Anything $1,000 or more, you're required to send it out certified mail with a return receipt requested. You can charge up to $20 against the account to pay for the actual cost of that mailing. Now, if you have a bad address, you're not required to send out those notices by certified mail. And you show that by showing 2 out of the 3 items. The first of which is to show that you've sent a first-class notice and it's come back undeliverable or returned to sender. Secondly, if you send a first-class notice and the owner of the fund does not respond after 30 days, or if you are unable to confirm their current address with a record search, so long as you show 2 out of the 3, you're not required to send those out certified mail. And then if the owner of that particular property signs off on that form or that account and returns it to you, then it's unclaimed. And then you can go ahead and issue a refund or hold that account for up to the dormancy period again before it becomes dormant, and you'd be required to do the mailing. If you don't hear back after 30 days, then those items become reportable. And so at that point, you complete an unclaimed fund report. Companies are required to report by November 1st for anything dormant as of June 30th of that year, with the exception of life insurance companies, which are required to report by May 1st for anything dormant as of December 31st of the prior year. So we're coming up on a reporting year here at November 1st. So you can either download forms OUF 1A and OUF 2 to file your unclaimed fund report using paper forms and send in a check. However, we are moving toward electronic reporting. So we highly recommend and encourage you to file through the Ohio Business Gateway. And if you go to business.ohio.gov and sign up with the Ohio Business Gateway, then you'll need to contact the Ohio Business Gateway to be made an authorized filer. And the phone number is on their website. And once you're an authorized filer, you'll be able to file your unclaimed fund report. It should be on your dashboard. But if you need help with that process at all, just let us know. You can contact me at unfdcompliance@com.ohio.gov, or you can reach me by phone, 614-466-5354. And then we'll have our contact information at the end as well. Amy, you can provide yours at the end with our final slide there. Like I said, even if you don't have any unclaimed funds, you're required to file a negative R&M report, which again, the way to do that is through the Ohio Business Gateway. There are some questions that you all have, I'm sure, and Amy has some things that she wants to cover also regarding reporting. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Amy, to talk about some of those things that our companies and our guests here might encounter. Amy?
Thank you, George. I wanted to go over some reporting issues that we seem to encounter, and especially now that it's getting closer to you to actually send in your reports. These are some of the items that I want you to double check. Something as simple as make sure the check or your ACH debit, however you're paying for it, or credit card, matches the total of the report. There have been times it does not match. And we have to reach out to the holder to find out why. It could be a matter of they took out a property and they forgot to change the amount. It happens a lot. So keep that in mind. You do want to double check your amounts. Also double check the detail. The owner detail could be missing. Is the address in the address field? Is the last name in the last name field? Are you giving us the full Social Security number? Are you giving us the full birth date? If you have it, please give it to us. That's how we try to identify the owner of these funds. Because I don't know if I think I'll cover it later with the audit information George wanted to go over. You only retain these records for so long. We retain them the whole time in perpetuity. So it's important for us to have this information as you have it. We've also been running into lately, I understand you deal with privileged information a lot. And as a result, there are unique codes that some are putting in for items that already have numbers, such as a cashier's check or a gift card number. They're already unique numbers. We need those because if the owner doesn't know this unique code that you've assigned to them, they can't collect it. We don't know it's different from what they're going to give us. So give us the exact number. It shouldn't be one that you use a table for to equal out to, because again, you won't retain all that information. We will going forward. We have to turn around and reach out to you to get it corrected. We also have cases where the nature of funds code are missing or the ownership code is missing. If it's a joint owner, we need to know it's a joint owner and who the joint owners are. So there are fields on there for you to enter this detail. If you need help with your file or where to put it, let me know. Just reach out to us and I'll give you that at the end as well. The other thing, we miss the company's contact information or even their FEIN number. Sometimes that's forgotten to be put on the form. It's important to know, especially if you're filing for different financial institutions, different banks or companies. So we need to know that information as well. So those are some of the things that hold up the filing or the processing of reports and even may require me to contact you or somebody from my section to contact you. So if you have this all in your file and you've reviewed it and you're good to go, then you won't hear from me. So you'll be good. All right, I'm going to give it back to George to tell you about the voluntary compliance.
All right, thank you,
One
Amy.
second, I did want to just let everybody know you are unable to speak at this webinar. And so if you do have questions, please continue to add them in the chat feature of this webinar. And we will be happy to answer those questions. In the meantime, of course, we do have some information to share with you, and we will continue doing that. And I will be happy to ask those questions as they come in. So go ahead, George. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So Amy mentioned the voluntary compliance agreement program. Before I get into that, if you do not file your unclaimed fund report, you may be subject to audit, which is given by Ohio Unclaimed Fund Law, ORC 169.03. So it's involuntary if you get notification from our field staff or one of our field examiners or one of the contract audit companies that we work with. You have to participate, and we'll help you go through and examine your financial records, looking for anything, and help you to report those. And you may be subject to fines and penalties as well. However, if you would like to avoid potential audit or fines and penalties, you may enter into a voluntary compliance agreement by which you agree to report a specific amount of unclaimed fund liability over a specific time period, and you would be held harmless and you would be protected from any fines or penalties. If you are interested in that, please let me know. We'll be happy to take a look at that. Although one of the things that you have to keep in mind is you are not allowed to enter into that agreement if you've been contacted for an audit. So you have to get to us before we select you for an audit. And so with that being said, and you can see on our website there at unclaimedfunds.ohio.gov, you can contact me. And you can also download the documents and get that process going. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Susie, and she will help moderate the questions.
Thank you, George. Let's see if we have any. Someone is having difficulty with their speakers. Sorry about that. We will be recording. We are recording this webinar, and we can definitely share it afterwards. I'm not seeing any specific questions at the moment. So again, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat. We are here for you today. If you got questions, we got answers. We're going to make a commercial. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions at this time.
Susie,
George or Amy, is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Well, there are some questions that the folks had when they signed up for the session. So I'll go ahead and lead off with one of those, if that's all right.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So the question is, if a customer has other accounts with activity and one is dormant, can you use the fact that they are transacting business on other accounts as they are active and the account shouldn't be escheated? The answer to that is yes, but it's key that it has to be owner initiated activity on one of the other accounts that the account holder has. For example, if they have a checking account and a savings account, if there's no activity on the savings account, but there is a deposit on the checking account, then the savings account would not be dormant. So any owner initiated activity, for example, like I said, deposits, doing business, payments on loans, in conversation or correspondence regarding the accounts between your institution and the account holder, that counts as owner generated activity. So that's the first question. All right, I'll go ahead and proceed to the second if you like. So the second is, what is the average time frame that most banks have accounts go inactive and start charging an inactive fee? I do not have that information. Amy, do you have that information? Kelly, do you happen to know of anything or anything that might be relevant to that? Kelli Lister is our Division Legal Counsel. She's with us today. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of outside of our purview. That's covered usually between the financial contract disclosures between the institution and the customer. The important thing there is that you're not allowed to charge an escheatment fee. You can charge the certified mailing fee. Dormant account fees, though, have to be disclosed, and it's between the institution and the customer.
Usually the dormant account fees are listed in their brochures when people sign up an account, or they'll have, I know for my personal credit union, I know they'll put it out there for you to get a copy of the current charges. So I imagine you have that as well.
All right.
I can go ahead with the next question.
All right.
What is the sufficiency of oral response to the OUF 8 mailing reporting CDs?
I can take the first part of that. The response to the OUF mailing, absolutely, there needs to be a signature. And the law is written so that it's a paper form that the owner of the money signs off on and returns it to them. We are looking at it's not written into the law regarding electronic signatures, but we're taking a look at that as well. As far as CDs, Amy, would you like to talk a little bit about dormancy rules for CDs? And I'm assuming we're talking about certificates of deposits with this question, or I'm wondering if maybe the question is regarding CDs for reporting. That one I'm not sure about. So
We do have another question about the rules for certificate of deposit escheatment. So I think either way she goes, it will be a great question to answer.
Okay.
What's the next question on the certificate of deposit? You have that?
What are the rules for the certificate of deposit escheatment?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question because it's not any different than, are you talking about automatic renewals maybe? Do you think that's what the question is regarding?
We could speak to that.
Kelly, you're on mute.
I think perhaps it's if they are trying to address triggers for dormancy on certificates of deposit.
Oh, sorry.
There is specific guidance in the revised code regarding certificates of deposit and the relevant period of dormancy. The language in the revised code currently provides that in those instances in which you have a CD that is auto renewable, that it would be based on the date on which there is a second notification sent to the holder, to the account holder, that goes undelivered. And it would have, those notifications have to be sent no less than quarterly. So in the event that you're not able to contact an account holder within 6 months, you're going to have a reportable property following your attempts to notify them. I think that's responsive. Amy, do you have anything more to?
I'm sorry, I just didn't understand exactly what they were looking for, but I'm thinking it is the triggers for their dormancy on it. That has to be it. Sorry. No, that's nothing to add. Sorry. You have another one?
So I do have some questions about, it looks like some folks were asking how to file a negative report, and I do just want to share the screen again and showcase the website where we do have some resources on here. This is our questions for today. Let's see. So we have some information on the Nunn report. If you go to our website, unclaimedfunds.ohio.gov, and click on reporting funds, it brings you to this page in which we have most recently posted a webinar replay. We have some reporting videos that are located right here. When you click that, there are some resources. Basically, it walks you through when you're filing through the Ohio Business Gateway, how to do that, how to file the report, and then how to file a report with funds. So I think these could be potentially very helpful in answering your questions about what it looks like to actually file and how do you do that. So I just wanted to make sure that we shared that information. And then we also have, I'm going to go back to our main screen. I just want to showcase this webpage because I think it does have some really great information. If you scroll down on the file a report page, it explains that there's a couple ways that you can file your report with us. One is if you want to file or pay the funds with an ACH debit transfer or a credit card, you must use the Ohio Business Gateway. Or if you'd like to pay by check, this is if you're filing a report with funds, there's another option for you. And here's the information. So I just wanted to share that. And then also something that's really helpful is our reporting guide. I'm just going to scroll back up. And it is located literally right here on the left-hand side in that navigation bar. When you click it, it gives you access to this page where you can download the guide. And this guide has lots of juicy information on all things filing a report and all the details about the Nunn report. So I just wanted to show that real quick. Let me see.
Susie, we have a hand up here. Christy Rothless, I apologize, can't see the entirety of your name. Roethlisberger with FCMB.
You're seeing a question? I'm not seeing anything.
It looks like Christy had a hand up here.
Yeah, go ahead and type your question in the chat, Christy, if you have something. I'm going to take a look at the rest of our questions that we have available. Let's see. What constitutes activity on the property or contact with the owner for determining dormancy? Does a customer updating their address on an account qualify? Did we already answer this?
We did address that. We didn't address directly if whether or not an update and contact information. I haven't encountered that one. Kelly, would you happen to know?
Yes, I would. The Chapter 169, what we are looking for purposes of preventing the finding of dormancy is owner-generated activity. So that means it has to be something that's initiated by the account holder. So if you have an account holder that's logging on to their profile and updating their address, but please appreciate that that has to be documented in some way by the holder. If there's evidence that you have a customer who's coming on to onto your online database, accessing their account and updating their contact information, that would constitute owner-generated activity, preventing a trigger of dormancy. But it is important to underscore that's why it is important as a holder that you are maintaining records, even in those instances in which a owner is not sending back a mail notification requesting, a account update, that there be some sort of tracking mechanism in your database by which that can be verified.
Okay, let me see what else we have. I've recently inherited our institution's unclaimed funds, so I'm not sure what questions I would have yet. Okay.
I would just underscore, I encourage you to go to unclaimedfunds.ohio.gov. There's lots of great information and resources there, like Susie was just mentioning. So, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. We'll have our contact information for you.
One thing I think it's helpful to let all holders in Ohio know is that each year you have an annual obligation to review your books and records to identify funds in which your business has no interest. Those unclaimed funds have to be reported to us, even in those years in which you identify that you are not holding funds that would properly be reportable. You have an obligation to file what's called a none report, and that can be done electronically. It can be done in paper, but the preference is that it be done electronically. And that is necessary because that is evidence that you've done your due diligence, that you've satisfied your statutory responsibility to at least once a year to review your books and records to identify those funds that you may be holding that belong to your business partners, your vendors, your customers, and that you've reviewed them and determined that you are not holding any funds that would constitute unclaimed funds.
I have another question here. How do you determine when a 5-year CD is dormant?
Okay, we touched on that a little bit earlier in our conversation here. The way that it is written currently, if it's an auto renewable CD, or if it's a CD that doesn't have an auto renewable provision, it's a 5-year period of dormancy in which you've had no owner generated activity, no contact with the owner. Specifically, what we're looking for here, and I'm looking right now so that I'm looking directly at the statutory language, which is found in 16902 of the revised code, section 16902 of the revised code. You are looking for when you have an agreement with your customer, where for instance, in the event that a CD, any interest earnings are then going to be reinvested in that CD, they're going to roll over. If it is unclaimed for a period of 5 years, that 5-year period begins from the date that there is a second account holder notification or communication to the owner that is returned as undeliverable to your business, to your bank, and the notification or communication must be sent no less than quarterly. So that 5-year period commences when there have been 2 successive mailings within the space of 1/4 of the calendar year that have been returned to you. I hope that answers your question. And the required period of dormancy is 5 years of no owner generated activity.
Okay. Has there been any changes from last year to this year? Just a general question.
Amy, do you want to take that one?
Oh, there's been a couple. We have updated the reporting guide. That was updated. There are new safekeeping or intangible forms to double check that are out there to see. That we have a electronic, or excuse me, I should say a secured website for people to upload their reports and their claimants to upload their claims. There's the same thing occurs. Gee, I'm sure there's something else I'm missing, but we've been active.
Well, I do know we have some new videos
talk
and
about the new-
several new resources posted on our website as well. Yeah, so I
We
mean,
have
I
some-
can't say it enough. I'm noticing a theme of questions revolving around the timing, the dormancy, the notice, you know, and the length of time and what all is involved with that. We've kind of went over those. And then the none report and how do I file that? That's kind of the themes, it seems like, of everyone's questions today. So I just can't reiterate enough. Our website does offer a lot of resources, and we also, I'm going to share our contact information too. So I'll do that right now, put that up on the screen. In the meantime, I thought, Amy, I wonder if there's any questions that we could have Michael answer about the safety deposit items, if there's something specific that you know of that comes up a lot that he could support us with. Maybe these folks might have those questions. Not to put you on the spot.
Well, he would know better than I would if there's specific questions that occur. Mike, do you have
Yeah.
one or two that seem to come up a lot for you?
Yeah, I get questions about if it's okay if they convert loose cash and coin they have to a check and send it in to us. And the answer is yes. If it's common currency, like in everyday circulation, go ahead and send that in to us instead of a large quantity.
Is that the primary one?
That's the biggest one.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Uh-huh.
So again, I'm sharing on the screen Amy and George's contact information specifically if you'd like to reach out to them.
You know, one question that we haven't really touched on, and it doesn't necessarily relate to reporting, but we do get questions a lot of how do I know if I have unclaimed funds? How do I claim it? And so if you go to missingmoney.com, and it's just all one word together, missing money, you can put in your name and you can search, and it's governed by the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators. Which means that if you have money in Florida or California, you can search and you can download a claim form, and then you can send in those forms, or you can upload those to our secure portal, and you can get your money, and we actually pay interest on that. So, so I would encourage you all to go and take a look. You can put in your business name as well. I'd also recommend misspelling your name as many different ways as you can think of. You might have some money out there.
Also, check your businesses, the company names. We do have unclaimed funds for those companies. And I would highly, highly encourage you to check unclaimed funds for your relatives and any deceased relatives that you may have. We have found that there's a lot of deceased individuals with this unclaimed money. So I would definitely encourage you to go search and see if you have money that you don't know about because you're an heir. So that's something to check on for sure. And I would say just recently, I've kind of captured this statistic that about 1 in 4 searches that are done on missingmoney.com, someone finds a claim. So that might give you an idea of, if you check yourself, your husband or your wife, and maybe your parents, there's going to be a claim, 1 in 4. So
And it's updated all the time.
and we do encourage everyone to check it, more than once a year, because we do get those reports. Just like we're asking you to help us file those reports. Sometimes we do get more information multiple times a year input into the system. So something could show up, like say in January, or that wasn't there in June of the previous year. Let's see, I think that was majority of the questions that we had been asked. Yeah. I'm guessing you all just have all of your answers to all of your questions. Well, is there any last minute thoughts, Amy or George, that you would like to share?
I just wanted to say thank you all for joining us today and spending your afternoon, this portion of your afternoon with us. If you do happen to have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'll make sure that they get answered and we'll assist you in completing your unclaimed fund report. I just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for your time, and just we're a phone call away should something arrive in terms of those questions.
Thank
See
you.
ya. Bye-bye.